everyone. Thank you for joining me for another awesome expo event. And I gotta say, this one is my favorite because I love watercolor. And I've been doing watercolor for many years and just recently realized that you can do it in a journal or a scrapbook page or a book of any type. So I have tried this technique on lots and lots of different paper types. They all work like a dream. So you will need one thing. I'm going to go over that with you. But first I want to tell you about our show special. This is 25% off everything on our website. That doesn't include our clearance items because those are already discounted, but it's 25% off everything else on our website. So if you like this watercolor technique, now's the time to get started and get some supplies. So those are all going to be on sale on our website. Here is the coupon code that you want to enter when you go to checkout. It is WCSSBE 2020. So this is the coupon code. Put that in as you're ready to check out and you will get 25% off your order. And if your order is $50 or more, you get free shipping on top of that. And in any order that you order from us, you're going to get a small little limited edition 2020 stamp as our gift to you. So lots of really fun things. Check out our watercolor on our website. Now this technique is also on YouTube. There are many dozens of videos on YouTube showing how to watercolor using rubber stamps, very similar to what I'm going to show you. So if you like this technique, if you want to know more about it, go to our channel on YouTube, Art Impressions, click that channel and look up Watercolor Wednesday. Those are all watercolor techniques on how to do this technique just using stamps, water, and a brush. And really the only ink that we're using are markers, water-based markers. So super easy, fun to do, and lots of inspiration on there for you. You can also check us out on Instagram, Facebook. I am live on Facebook twice a month, so every first and third Wednesday is Wednesday Live, and it is watercolor. And I've also been doing some journaling on there too, so I really just love it so much. And now that you can watercolor on any type of paper, it's just opened up a whole new world. So check me out on Facebook. Those videos are archived on there, so they stay on Facebook. You can check those out and join me every first and third Wednesday on Facebook for Facebook Live, and I'll be doing lots and lots of watercolor everywhere. You can also, if you're interested in journaling, Bible journaling. So that's originally how these stamp set, this line of stamping came about, was for Bible journaling. But it also, like I said, works in every type of journal, every type of book. So it isn't specifically for that. But if you are interested in Bible journaling, doing this in your Bible, check me out on Instagram, BonnieKrebs.BibleJournaling. And there is lots and lots of inspiration for you and instructionals on how to do this in a Bible. And I am also live on Instagram once a month. So check that out, and those videos will be on YouTube. So lots and lots of information. If you want to know more and you're not sure where to go, just call our 800 number and talk to Claire, and she'll get you started. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you how to do a project like this in a journal. Now this is a normal journal. This is not watercolor paper. This is regular paper that you would see in any journal or planner. And I'm going to show you how to watercolor this into your journal, and only a few minutes, to be able to do it in just a few minutes. So the key is the ground, and this is what it is. This is the Golden brand, absorbent ground. This is exactly what it is, and I would, you can get this on Amazon. I would recommend, if you want to do this, go to Amazon and put it in the search and get it on Amazon. You're going to get it really quickly. We have it on our website. We are out of it, and it's hard for us to get. So you know what? I just tell people go to Amazon and get it. This is the game changer. You will need a brush like this. This is a 1-inch flat brush. And this is what you use to apply it to your journal. So it doesn't take very much. You're going to just use your brush just like this, and you're just going to apply it to your page exactly where you want to watercolor. A thin coat, and there are tutorials on YouTube that show you exactly how to prep your page. Once your page is prepped, you're ready to go, and you can watercolor just using markers. This is what I'll be using, these Tombow markers. Very simple, water-based. They don't have to be these particular ones, can be any water-based marker. And then a simple brush like this. This is a watercolor number 4 brush. I'll show you that in the project when we get going. And that is all there is to it. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna show you how to do this really, really fun project, really, really simple and easy to do. And I hope you'll give it a try. Here's the set that I'm using, this one right here. This is called the Hyacinth border set. It's 5271. This is the one I'm using. And you can see on this set, it's a mirrored image. So you get a left and you get a right. So when you're stamping in a book, you can do both sides of the book. Really, really easy to do. Here's another one that's in that series. This one is called the Poppy border set. It's 5273. This is another one, and you can see it's exactly the same. It has a right and a left. It's these in this series are done exactly like I'm going to show you. You're gonna do them the exact same way, and you can of course switch out the colors. This one too. This is the Blossom border set. It's 5272. It's very, very simple and similar, and you can see it's a left and a right, so you can see exactly how to put this into a book. These also are available on YouTube, these tutorials, so you can go to YouTube, check that out, and find more instructionals on how to do this technique. Here's another one. This is another one in the set. There are many in this series, so you can go to our website, check out the Bible journaling series, and find all of these in this series. But here's that little hydrangea. And it's used in this little border set. So again, lots and lots of inspiration. There are lots of sets, and the difference with these, this is why they're in this series, is because they're long and narrow, and they are made for margins. So they're made to go in a book. They're made to go on in a border. They're long and narrow, and that's why they're in this series. Otherwise, they work exactly like all of our other watercolor. So let me move my camera and let's get started on our project. So here is the project I wanted to show you. This is the hydrangea set, and it comes with a right and left, so it's perfect for journaling. This is from our Bible journaling line, and what that means is that these stamps are made specifically to go in margins. So they work great in books, they work great in journals, everywhere that you need a long, narrow stamp, just like this one. So it works perfectly in a journal just like this, and that's what we're doing. We're doing this journal. It's a really simple one. I've just prepped the page and stamped my image, and then I pulled the color out of the line. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. And these come with a right and a left so that you can mirror the image on both sides of your journal. I use the right one here, but you can duplicate this and do it on the other side of your journal really, really easily. Okay, so here is the set that I'm using. This is called the Hydrangea Border Set 5271, and it is so simple to do. You're going to love doing this project. So I have, just for time's sake, gone ahead and stamped it in my journal. And again, I've prepped the page. I've brushed that absorbent ground on very, very thinly and let it dry. And then I've used a terry cloth, just like this one, and I've just kind of buffed it out. So I've gone over it, I've gone over the page, just over the whole thing, and buffed it out so that it's very, very smooth. So now we are ready to add some water to it. And what I've done is, you can see on the stamp here, I've colored the areas separately. So the vines, everything that's going to be green, I've colored that with a green, and I've actually used this one right here. This is a Tombow 177. I've used that on the green, and then on the florals, I've used 2 colors. I went over it first with a purple 636, and then I went over it again with a blue 526. This is 528, but it is 526. That is the one I used, this one right here. So I went over this with 2 colors, and then I stamped it into my journal just like this. Okay? So now I'm going to dip my brush in water. I've got some water over here on the side, just like this, and the brush that I'm using is a number 4. This is a connoisseur number 4 round tip, just like this. And I'm going to dip it in water, and then I'm going to pinch it off so that it's flat. I don't want too much water on here. I want to keep it really, really dry. And then I'm going to start now adding some color, adding some water to these to this image. And what this ground does is it just kind of turns your paper, any kind of paper, into a canvas. and you can do these beautiful watercolor designs, you know, in a journal or in a book. I've tried this in many different types of books. I've tried it in lots and lots of old songbooks. I've tried it in journals, planners, lots and lots of different types of paper, and it works great on all types of paper. So you can also do this in your on your scrapbooking pages. It works great for in there too. So it just kind of opens up a whole new world for watercolor. And you know, when you can do it in other places like this. It used to be you could only do it on watercolor paper, but now you can do it on many, many other different types of papers. Okay, so you can see I'm just kind of dabbing. What this brush is doing is pulling that color out of the line. So it's kind of bleeding that color out. And you can see I'm just kind of going over this very carefully with a pretty dry brush. So I've gotten it wet, but I've pinched the majority of the water off, and I've really left some white spaces. I'm going to hold this up so that you can really see what I'm talking about here. You can see that the color is more concentrated in the center of the blooms, and then along the edges I've left that white. And using two colors like that really adds more depth, because that purple and that blue will both come out. So when you add your water to this and the colors that bleed out, you're going to get a mix of these two colors. And I just love these blue hydrangeas anyway. So beautiful. And you know, you can just take your time doing this. It is so fun. It's really relaxing because it's going to turn out perfect every time, I promise. It's going to turn out perfect. Make sure your brush isn't too wet. That's the biggest thing. Make sure you have prepped your page. Now, I get asked all the time if you can use gesso, and the answer to that is no. You cannot use gesso. It does not work for this technique. You have to use an absorbent ground like the one that I'm using. And then you can see the back of the page. See, there's no bleed at all. The page doesn't pucker. It doesn't soak through, and it just works so well. It is just the funnest thing. So now all I'm doing is dabbing at each petal one at a time and dragging the color out. So now I've gotten through this whole, all of the blooms here. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to clean my brush off. Now I'm going to go back through and do the foliage. And I'm dragging this out now. I'm just touching, you know, all these little tiny areas. And if you find that you get too much water on your brush, just pinch it off again. Just pinch it off. Just keep pinching it off until you get enough water that you're blending the lines, but you're not blurring the lines. Okay, so I'm just kind of working my way down. It takes very little water, and I'm just touching all of these little areas. Then coming down here to the bottom and just pulling the color out of the lines. That's all I'm doing. All the color is in here from when I stamped the image, and all of these lines are holding color, and that's where it comes from. So I'm just kind of, you know, coloring over the lines and drawing that color out. Okay, so I've got my watercolor image in here. I've got quite a bit of this done now. So I'm just going to add some water to my palette, or some color to my palette. Now this is a really bright green. This is number 173, and I'm just going to take some of this color now and add it to my leaves, just to give a little more color definition. It's sort of like we did with the blooms. You know how we mix the color? We're kind of doing that same thing. We're just adding more color now to the foliage part. And I can add it to these little leaves too. And just kind of work your way down. You can take your time. It's such a fun, relaxing thing to do. And you know, these turn out different every time. Even though you're using a stamp, nobody would ever guess that this was a stamp. They would just think that you created this beautiful painting all on your own. Okay, so now I'm going to take a fine tip. This is twin tone. This is a dark blue twin tone, and the reason I'm using it is just because it has a very, very fine tip, just like this. And I'm just going to go in here, in between some of these little blooms, and really darken some of these areas. And that's going to give us a little more definition. You know, the goal is always that we end up with a completed watercolor image that looks like a painting. We don't want anyone to see it and think that it's stamped. And if you do it this way, no one will ever guess. They'll just think that you are a brilliant watercolorist and you have created this amazing painting. And they also won't know that it only took you a few minutes. That's the other great thing about this technique, is that it doesn't take very long at all. Okay, so we got some more definition in here. So I'm going to add another little stamp here. This is the accent. This is an accent stamp, and it comes in that set. And I'm just going to ink it in a dark blue, or excuse me, a green. And I'm just going to ink the whole thing in a green and just stamp it in here a couple of times, just like this. So once you're finished, you know, coloring, you can just add some detail in like this. So fun. You can stamp it in here a couple of times. You can do as much of this as you want to. And I think I'll just add another one out here and maybe one more up here. Okay, so now we're going to take some of this color that's on these foliages and the leaves, and we're going to drag it to the outside. And that's going to give us a really, really nice background and detail. So we're just kind of dragging this color out to the outside. So we've pulled it to the inside to color all of these different images, but now we're dragging it to the outside, and we're just creating a really nice background. And you can see the colors will all sort of bleed out. You know, the purples, the blues, the greens, the different greens, those will all kind of bleed out. So not too much. You don't want to use too much water, just a little bit. And just kind of drag it out. You can do as much of this as you want to. And if you like more of a definite impression, you know, more of a clear image, you can just skip this part too. Totally up to you. But I think it really adds a lot. I think it looks more like a watercolor when you do this. It gives you a really nice depth to it. So it actually gives you more of a background. And I think that really, really adds to the image. And I think I'll add a little more color in here. This is a really bright blue. This is a 373, so it's actually more of a teal color. So you can do a little of this too. Take a little bit of this color and just brush it in. And again, we're just adding some background here to give it more of a watercolor look. And I'm just putting it in here by the blooms. And back in here in the bottom. And you can see this is really starting to come together, and so quick and so easy. And there are more in this series. So there are more sets like these hydrangeas. If you go to our website and go to artimpressions.com and go to the Bible journaling section, you can see all of the different sets that are available. And they all work the same way. And they are specifically made to go into margins, just like this one. Okay, I think we are about finished with this project. And I'm going to sign and date it, and I hope you do the same when you do a project like this. Be sure to sign and date, because even though you're using a stamp, every time you do it, every time you use it, it's going to be a little bit different. So it is your creation. You're using your own colors, you're putting it all together, and you should sign and date it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you do, check out more projects on YouTube and on Facebook and on Instagram. Don't forget coupon code. Here's our coupon code, WCSSBE 2020, Don't forget that coupon code when you go to checkout, and 25% off everything on our website. So I hope you will head on over there, and happy shopping to you.